Sometimes being a friend means mastering the art of timing. There is a time for silence, a time to let go and allow people to hurl themselves into their own destiny, and a time to prepare to pick up the pieces when it's all over. Every story I write adds to me a little, changes me a little, forces me to re-examine an attitude or belief, causes me to research and learn, helps me to understand people and grow. Religion is everywhere. There are no human societies without it, whether they acknowledge it as a religion or not. Tolerance, like any aspect of peace, is forever a work in progress, never completed, and if we're as intelligent as we like to think we are, never abandoned. If vampires were a separate species and they were into genetic engineering, what would they engineer for? Religion kept some of my relatives alive because it was all they had. If they hadn't had some hope of heaven, some companionship in Jesus, they probably would have committed suicide. Their lives were so hellish. Most of us don't have to worry about being shot if we poke our noses outside. So we are comfortable, but the people I'm writing about are definitely not comfortable, and being shot while they're still inside is a good possibility. I was attracted to science fiction because it was so wide open. I was able to do anything, and there were no walls to hem you in, and there was no human condition that you were stopped from examining. People who think about time travel stories sometimes think that going back in time would be fun because you would have all the information you needed to be much more astute than the people there. When the truth is, of course you wouldn't. I took classes taught by an elderly woman who wrote children's stories. She was polite about the science fiction and fantasy that I kept handing in, but she finally asked in exasperation, "Can't you write anything normal?" As a black and as a woman, I didn't think that I would really want to live in any of the eras before this, because I would inevitably be worse off. I would have spent more time struggling just to prove I was human than doing my work. I have a huge and savage conscience that won't let me get away with things. I would never have been a good scientist. My attention span was too short for that. Fantasy is totally wide open. All you really have to do is follow the rules you've set. But if you're writing about science, you have to first learn what you're writing about. Science fiction let me do both. It let me look into science and stick my nose in everywhere. At school, I was always taller than the rest of my class, and because I was an only child, I was comfortable with adults but shy and awkward with other kids. I was quiet, bookish, and in spite of my size, hopeless at sports. In short, I was different. And even in the earliest grades, I got pounded for it. No one was going to stop me from writing, and no one had to really guide me towards science fiction. It was natural, really, that I would take that interest. So fantasy was fine early on, and when I discovered science fiction, I was very happy with it because my first interest in science fiction came with an interest in astronomy. No, I think the future of humanity will be like the past. We'll do what we've always done, and there will still be human beings. Granted, there will always be people doing something different, and there are a lot of possibilities. Writing is one of the few professions in which you can psychoanalyze yourself, get rid of hostilities and frustrations in public, and get paid for it. Well, writing was what I wanted to do. It was always what I wanted to do. I had novels to write, so I wrote them. Not everyone has been a bully or the victim of bullies, but everyone has seen bullying, and seeing it has responded to it by joining in or objecting, by laughing or keeping silent, by feeling disgusted or feeling interested. Delusional pain hurts just as much as pain from actual trauma, so what if it's all in your head? You don't start out writing good stuff. You start out writing crap and thinking it's good stuff, and then gradually you get better at it. That's why I say one of the most valuable traits is persistence. Life is short. Smile while you still have teeth. Life is a journey, not a destination. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. Abraham Lincoln. Life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. Charles R. Swindoll. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. Confucius.